Hey Star, how's it going?
Hi.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you for joining and doing this before you go on your big trip. I know you're trying to cram everything this week and get everything ready for you to go to Spain, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you get all your clothes shopping done and packing done? Yeah.
Oh, I haven't packed, but yeah, I'm. We're going through washing all the clothes and everything.
Gotcha. So you're almost there, and you're
Hmm.
leaving like Sunday, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, before we start, I just wanted to tell you one thing. First off, I'm grateful that you have a nickname because I spent the first 30 minutes of our first coaching call going on YouTube looking up how to pronounce your name. So I gave it a go with our first call. And then after our call, you said just to call you Star because that's what everybody calls you. So
Hmm.
I'm glad you had a nickname there. I just couldn't figure out if I was supposed to roll my R's or L's. So just for the record, how do you officially like pronounce your name?
It's Estrella.
Okay, gotcha. And I
Hmm.
would never get that. My mainly on my dad's side is not the best at grammar, but decent at business. So it's a give and take.
Hmm.
But anyway, tell me where you live and just a little bit about what you do, and then your family.
Okay. I live in Texas, and I am married, and we have two daughters, one son.
Okay.
The the girls are already 21. They don't live at home.
Uh-huh.
Um, Still dealing with the 15-year-old brooding teenager that
Gotcha.
lives at home, the son. Um, but I manage an auto repair facility here in town. We repair vehicles, and that's that's what I do.
Got it. Well, thanks for sharing that. The purpose of the call is just to share the journey that clients have gone through, and just share like what the coaching process is all about. I know that we might find that everyone is like very different when it comes to what they deal with on a day-to-day basis. Everybody has like their different backgrounds that they're from, but when it comes to nutrition and fitness, we very much have like the same struggles. We have this some of the same doubts and questions that we want to get answered, right? So that's kind of
Yes.
the point about this. And I wanted to highlight today with you as my first like guest here. And we'll call this like an episode. But anyway, I wanted to highlight this client connection or coaching connection or whatever we want to call this episode here. And maybe you have a idea of what I should call it as you're the first guest. So if you have something, let me know. Uh,
Okay.
what I do know is that both of us, this is probably not normal for both of us. I'm pretty introverted and don't like doing things like this, but I want to be able to, get the word out there and grow and have other people connect with clients that are going through the same things. And I know for you, you wanted the questions so you would be able to answer them properly, but we'll get through this and figure it out. But anyway, I just want to say you absolutely have killed it throughout the first 21 weeks of online nutrition coaching and training. And I just want to start off by reading some of your accomplishments with measurements, and then later we'll talk about some of the big wins. So
Okay.
first off, as far as measurements go, you went from a 39-inch chest to 33.5, 33 inches above your navel to 29.5, 36.6 inches at the navel to 31 inches below the navel, 41 inches to 34 inches, hips 42 inches to 38 inches. If I had asked you based off of those inches that you lost, how much weight you thought you would have lost during that time? Would you have a guess? And I know you know exactly what it is, but there's a point to all this.
Um, I think not knowing what I know now,
Uh-huh.
it's hard for me to answer the question because if you told me those measurements back then, I would have said, I don't know, 20 pounds
Yeah, yeah.
or 10 pounds. I don't know.
Yeah, and I would have
So
to agree, and I didn't put this in the questions I was going to ask you because I just wanted to make a point. And my point is, like, I think a lot of people, especially ladies, obsess about scale weight. I know you didn't during this process. You did voice some frustrations and all that, but you really understood what we were doing. But I think people get stuck on scale weight versus how they actually feel, right? And we
yeah.
look at those measurements, and those like are amazing. But at the same time, you've just told me the other day you're 6 pounds heavier now than you were when you lost your initial 30 pounds, right? Before coming to me.
Yeah.
And we lost 6 pounds total in 21 weeks. And really, that's not a whole lot when you look at it. But if we look at your, which you were nice enough to change your mind and let me share your before and after pictures, and they're totally badass. But if you look at that and look at those pictures and look at the measurements, I think that a lot of people would understand that it's not just about losing weight, but instead we can lose, body fat in inches and feel good and look
Yeah.
strong versus just what the scale says, which oftentimes stops people from accomplishing what they want to do. So, do you have
Mhm.
any thoughts about that, or would you agree?
Um, you're correct. And for the longest time, when I first started trying to lose weight, I was focused on the scale.
Uh-huh.
And then I just hit frustration. And when I called you the first time that we talked, I was very frustrated. I had plateaued, my scale's not moving. I was eating very low calorie for so long, screwed up my hormones because of it. I didn't feel good. I felt, weak, and I just I wasn't eating properly. And throughout our journey, I've lost so much fat,
Mhm.
but the scale has not moved necessarily a whole lot. I mean, we've had it go up and then down a little bit and up, and then down, and but the measurements consistently were going down, and that's what's crazy. I'm a believer now.
No, that's great. And I think the one of the great things that we took away from this, and we're still taking away, is that we now understand how to work with the scale. And we'll
Mhm.
talk about that in just a little bit. But I think people need to do more and consider like their measurements, consider like before and after photos, or continuous like photos, and engage like how they're feeling, so that when they look at the scale, they don't get discouraged, because really
Mhm.
we're on a great trajectory to reach your goals, right? But we just had to understand like how the process works and what we were doing. So with that, just tell me where you were at with your health before we met, and then also like what successes did you have, struggles and doubts.
Okay. So I gained a lot of weight. I've never had any type of athletic background, nothing. I've never worked out. Um, I did work out for just a little bit, maybe about 5 years ago, but I was a lazy bum, and I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I just wasn't really, I didn't necessarily care for it.
Okay.
Um, so I gained a lot of weight. Uh, it was right before 2020. I almost hit 190, and I was feeling tired, and I couldn't necessarily move. I have a very sedentary job.
Mhm.
And then not to mention that when I come home, doing chores is fine, but what do I do after that? Just sit on the couch and watch TV or, So I was very sedentary all around. And I remember I was talking to um, my cousin who works out all the time, and I just asked her, give me some motivation. What motivates you? I want to work out, but I just don't do it. And she told me something that I always remember. She said, I can't really tell you anything to motivate you. She said, because if you're not making the time for it, then it's just not that important to you. She said, if you can't make time for yourself and your health, then it's just not important to you. And when she told me that, it it pissed me off
Mhm.
because I was like, I have kids, I am volunteering, I work, I do this, and I was like, I don't have time to work out.
Yeah.
But I did. I was just making excuse after excuse. So, anyways, long story short, I just I'm gonna go for it. And my daughter actually started going to the gym when she was in high school, and she invited me, and I went. And then she was my crutch. I wouldn't go if she wouldn't go. And eventually I started going by myself. And it just got to the point where I noticed that I was feeling good. Um, and then I lost 30 pounds. But I also didn't feel good. And I went to the doctor, had blood work done, and that's when they told me I had my testosterone was like a 4. And so I was like, oh, well, that explains this and why I'm so tired and everything. Um, so then they put me on the bio pellets, and then I was trying to figure out what to do as far as nutrition because I plateaued. Um, and then I was desperate. I don't know anything about nutrition. I was just eating. The reason why I lost all that weight was me going into a deficit, but I wasn't doing it properly. I was just portion controlling, but still eating not the healthiest,
Gotcha.
and still snacking a lot.
Gotcha.
And then when I reached out to you, that's when everything changed. And I remember even telling you and having insights of, oh, this fruit will count as towards my carbs. Just things I didn't know, I was very ignorant when it came to that. And I'm still learning,
Yeah.
but,
You're doing
um,
good. You're doing really
but,
good.
and I just always had that, with the doctors telling me one thing. For example, I got put on thyroid medicine, and then that doctor left that practice, and another one came, and then they were like, well, why are you on thyroid? You shouldn't be on it. I Before I lost weight, I was having very bad cramping during my cycles, and my doctor said they did a sonogram, and he said, oh, you have fibroids and whatnot, so we should do a hysterectomy. And I didn't really want to do it, but I figured, okay, well, if they're recommending it, right, you trust your doctors. And but I ended up not being able to get it. I lost weight. My cramping, I noticed that it wasn't, I didn't have bad cramping anymore. And I went to the doctor about a year ago and asked him, because he said, oh, you canceled your surgery. And I told him, oh yes, I ended up, I got COVID and couldn't take any more time off of work. And he, anyways, I haven't been cramping. I was like, I lost a lot of weight, and is it related somehow? And he said, yes, it is. That makes sense because the fat cells thicken the lining of your uterus, which causes, all that. And had my doctor told me at the time that I was complaining about it, and if he was like, ma'am, you're overweight. If you were to lose weight, you'll have relief from this. I would have done everything in my power to lose the weight.
Yeah.
But instead, he wanted to do surgery. And so you lose a little bit of trust. And I thought, how can I take care of myself with what I eat and working out? And then that's where you came into the picture.
Well, you
That
figured.
was a long ramble. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. And you kind of stole some of the stuff I was going to talk about later with the big wins. And then also, like, just putting the connections together. You've done a really good job about connecting things for yourself. Even though you do have me, you've just understood like how to connect things. So that's great. And then as far as doctors go, I mean, there's times where, yeah, we're really going to have to lean on doctors, right? Obviously, we can't fix everything in emergency scenarios, but people need to think for themselves and just figure out like what the best option is. Sometimes you could do it on your own and heal yourself. And then there's other times where we need doctors, but I think they're getting better at suggesting exercise, at suggesting nutrition. Not all, but it's getting a little bit better. And yeah, I think you did a great job, and you figured that out for yourself. Um, what I wanted to talk about as well just before you came to work with me, some of the things that you went through and you just had mentioned. Um, and one of the things I wanted to talk about is like the whole motivation aspect. That kind of like that that was apparent for you that maybe I don't know how to say this, but maybe it offended you or whatever, or got you going when your cousin had said you just have to make yourself a priority. I know that a lot of people say they are busy, but the point is that we should have time for ourselves, and the more that we take care of ourselves, the more that we are able to do stuff, right? We're able to think clear. We're able to take care of our kids better. We're able to have a clear mind at work. So those are all important things. So let me just list some of the things that you were doing before working with me. I know I don't see you on the screen here, but hopefully we get you back in a second. Um, the first thing being, um, your workout routine was a little bit inconsistent and you didn't feel the best doing them. The second being, you were doing 20-minute hit workouts uh, of cardio 4 times a week or more, kind of just because sprints once a week, intermediate fasting until 12 p.m. midday. Uh, and then most of these things really are not bad, but we have to understand we have to understand when to apply them, right? And why we are applying them. And I don't know if you could hear me. If so, you could respond. There you go. Your audio is connecting. Um, can you
Okay,
hear
I'm
me?
back. Okay, yeah, I'm here. Can you see me?
Yeah, I could see you. Could you hear me rambling?
No, I couldn't hear anything.
That's okay. So what I was talking about is your routine just up to the time we met. So you were doing like 20-minute sessions of cardio, like hit style every day, kind of just because, right? You were doing intermediate fasting, just maybe more so randomly. Your workouts were maybe not the best because you didn't have enough energy,
Yeah,
possibly, and you were just a little bit more inconsistent. And I was saying most of these things really are not bad, but we just have to know like the time and place to apply them, right? I don't know if
yeah,
you would agree with that, but that's kind of where we were.
yeah.
Yeah, so just for a main point here, I just want to kind of relate this to people that are struggling. For example, a thing that we should probably not do, like when our knee hurts after doing high impact training on a treadmill for 20 minutes or whatever it is, and we continue to do that and we leave the gym feeling like worse than when we got there. or going to like a hit class where we're doing burpees and intense push-ups and our neck hurts us and our knees continue to hurt us, or joining a class where it's 300 degrees uh, in the sauna, right? And we're doing yoga there when we came from a stressful environment previously. We're drained for the day. We're not fueling ourselves properly. Like those are not necessarily ways to stay motivated or continue to keep going, because you're eventually going to break down, right? You're eventually going to not get results anymore. You're just going to be tired and fed up with the same old thing. So I think there's a time and a place to apply those things when you are able to. And what we did is we took your current situation, we took what you were able to do. We kind of upgraded your foods and just made better decisions. You still ate what you like to eat, but we
Mhm.
just made sure we had a good game plan in place, and that's why I believe that you were successful during this time, because we planned around you and according to what you needed, versus trying to just plug things in and randomly assert them right into our
Mhm.
plan. Um, and let me know if you agree or have anything to add there.
No, I think that was, you've pretty much summarized it all.
Gotcha.
It was just sticking to the plan.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I do want to mention is when I first started doing this, I remember with with the nutrition part asking you, can you please do a day of eating?
Yeah.
Because I didn't. How am I going to eat these macros with what I'm eating? And you did it, and I was just mind boggled. You took what you saw on my fitness pal. You're like, just based off of what I've seen you're eating, this is what I would do. And you added some suggestions too as well. And after that, it just became so simple because I didn't know how to build that. It, it was rocket science.
Good. I'm glad it helped. And for those clients that are joining or that currently coach with me, don't get any ideas because I really don't like doing that. For
Oh,
just for one, like I told you in the beginning, I don't mind doing that, but it takes time, right, to figure out what you like to eat. And I don't like assigning people to certain foods, but we pretty much based it off of what you were currently eating and just kind of played around with it. But I
mhm.
want you to figure it out first, right?
Yeah.
It's like you going to the gym and you're able to track what you're able to do with weights and lift, and you understand when you could push, when you need to kind of lay back on weights and stuff like that, right? So I want
Yeah.
you to figure it out first, and then I will help you if you're unable to connect the dots. So this coaching process is very much about you learning things so that you could do it on your own. But because we came up with a plan based off what you currently liked, I think it worked. Because if I just gave
Mhm.
you something where I gave you chicken, broccoli, whatever, and those are things that I think you said you hate, actually, right? You don't like chicken very much,
The
or
chicken breast. The chicken breast.
so if I was to plan that for you and just give you a meal plan in the beginning, chances of you following that are pretty slim. But if we work together, communicate, understand like what you like, and then I do that for you, I think we have better success. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so based off of that, why did you hire a coach? What did you want to get out of it, and what were you expecting coaching to be like?
Okay, well, I realized that my nutrition was a problem, and I initially hired you just for nutrition,
Yeah,
and then I ended up uh, s- signing for the coaching,
yeah,
which I'm very glad I did. But I understand now how food affects my body. I didn't know that before. Knowing now because of my busy schedule, I can work out at lunch or I can work out after work. So I don't have a set workout time sometimes. So now I know when I'm going to work out, okay, I need to add some extra carbs here because I'm gonna go, or um, it just also, I think one of the things that I liked was like during my cycle, you were allowing me, do about 100 extra calories if you have to. And I think I've only had to do it once because I've learned how to, I can eat so much food, but because it's all like, I eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruit. So I don't necessarily get as hungry where before, okay, I'm going to eat 1,500 calories. You can eat in one meal, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I understand now
Great. Good.
how to, feed myself. Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry, I lost you for a second, but I got what you said at the end there. Um, and one of the other things I wanted to talk about based off of that is you previously hired another coach a few years back, right? And
Mhm.
and the thing that kind of shocked me is when you just told me in an email that you paid in full for a month or whatever it was, and you were basically unresponsive and didn't do any of your check-ins and whatever else. Uh,
Mhm.
that shocks me because you've been an absolute like gamer, is what I like to call it. With when somebody is just on point with coaching, I mean everything I say you execute on a week-to-week basis. Your communication is there. You fill out check-ins. You respond back to videos. So you've been like this ideal client. So not uh, to not communicate with the other coach was kind of shocking, and that goes back to the point you actually mentioned, and that I was going to mention is like your cousin said, you have to be willing to commit. You can't have one foot in and one foot out. You have to have a good reason why you want to do this and why you want to succeed. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Uh,
Mhm.
and I could be the best coach possible, or the person you had before could have been the best coach possible, been the best trainer. But if you weren't ready to move on and put in the work, then you're not going to get the
Yeah.
results. And I think that's where a lot of people mistake themselves, is because they hire a coach, they think that they are going to change instantly. You still have to put in the work. The coach is
Yeah.
organize everything for you and help you um, to understand basically what you're supposed to do, and so that you could do that for the long term.
Yeah. That's one of the things is you like you said, you have to put in the work. You can you you can write me macros and a workout plan, but it's up to me to apply it. If I'm not going to the gym, if I'm not eating, you're not going to do the work for me. My husband's not going to do it for me. My kid, nobody. Like, I have to do it myself. You have to do it yourself because if not, nothing's going to change.
Yeah. True. And what I wanted to say is there is bad coaches out there as well, and I've been one of them. Like if I could go back and apologize to some of my clients for what I said, like for example, starting off the first week or so saying let's completely stay away from bread because it's causing inflammation and all this crap, when bread was like their most favorite thing to eat. I feel like I've lost a lot of people because I was unable to communicate, or I was unable to effectively apply a program. And if I was to tell you, and you play video games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I was to tell you right off the bat, start like if you don't cut all your video games out, then I don't think that we're going to be successful. You would probably go tell me to screw myself, or eventually you're just going to play video games, and it's not going to be
You,
an enjoyable process. So we have to very much be on the same page, and you have to enjoy what you're doing, right? And it doesn't mean we have to take away what we like. Even though I might have been somewhat right about the bread causing inflammation, still you're taking away people's favorite things, and that's not how we should go about diets. We shouldn't restrict ourselves while dieting. We should do what works best for us. So
yeah,
with that, I want to kind of talk about we'll talk about like your connection to things, and we'll wrap it up. But for example, your connection to playing video games, I had a suggestion the first few weeks about steps. You were only moving or walking around 3 to 5,000 steps maybe a day, a little bit more on the weekends. And I asked you if you could maybe end video games a little bit earlier and take walks or something along those lines. And actually, you taught me this. So you replied back with like, well, the game is loading, or when I get to the next level, I am constantly taking steps back and forth. And
yeah,
that was kind of like a light bulb moment for me. It's like, why didn't I think about that as a coach? Why didn't I just have her enjoy the video games, but continue to walk back and forth? And you were actually one of the ones that suggested that, and you're very good at connecting the dots. But we made it happen within what you enjoyed. So I thought that was
yeah.
okay, let's talk about your big wins, and then we'll wrap it up here. So some of these you already mentioned, but let me just list these off. So you lost lower belly fat and skin has tightened up. Your confidence has gone way up. You are able to tuck in your shirt now for the first time in 15 years. You've been able to see your hard work pay off in the mirror in the last 3 months, as you were previously frustrated with putting in hard work and pushing yourself and not necessarily seeing what you wanted to see. You did 2 rounds of bioti. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce, but basically
You're fine.
testosterone pellets previously, as you had hormone imbalances, and you were able to stop that and now have normal levels. You had less cramping during cycles after losing weight, and ultimately, I think you upgraded your food, and that had a lot to do with it as well. Just
Yeah.
fueling yourself better. My question to you is: are you proud of what you've accomplished, and do you have anything to add to that?
Um, I'm proud. I I'm proud. I don't know how to explain it. Yes, I'm proud of myself. Because I never thought that I would be, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym and squat every time I hit a PR or something like that. But I'm kind of going sideways. I'm gonna tell you a proud moment I didn't tell you about was uh, my husband and I love to go camping, and went to a site one time that we needed our generator, and it was in the back of the truck. And my husband was like, "It's just us," so he's like, I'm gonna have to take the generator off the back of the truck because it doesn't reach the connection or whatnot for the trailer. And I told him, well, I'll help you unload it. And that sucker is heavy, you know?
Yeah, they
And
are.
he was just like, you were going to help me? And I was like, yeah, I'll help you. And I helped him. We unloaded that thing. And he was like out of breath and, and I was just like nothing. And he's like, man, you're strong. You're not tired from that? I was like, no, but it was just, that was a proud moment because I kind of had showed my husband, like, hey, I'm strong. So, yeah.
That's a cool story. Thanks for sharing. And yeah, I didn't know about that. So that's awesome. Um, okay, let's wrap up with just like connecting the dots. So the first thing we talked about was the video games. You were able to walk in circles around your house while video games were loading or going to the next level. The second thing is you living in Texas. I believe you guys got like record high weather up to
Yeah.
almost 130 degrees, and it lasted for weeks.
We're still in the hundreds right now.
Insane. So instead of letting, because you couldn't change the weather, you couldn't control it. So instead, you were able to take control and you got a walking pad, right? Which seems like absolutely
Yes.
ridiculous. But the funny part about it is you, not ridiculous to put in your own house, but you took it to work, right?
Yeah, I have it at work.
Yeah. So my question was like, how did people react to you putting a walking pad in there? And then how did it help you overall?
Okay, the cool thing is, with me starting to work out, some of the guys also were like, I was a run, he was a runner, so he
Okay.
was running, and he sees me working out, and then now he started lifting, and then I have another guy that does CrossFit, but he's so we're all kind of healthy people there. We're always just talking stuff. And so I told them, hey guys, I'm going to get a walking pad because I'm so sedentary, because they can walk around and do stuff where I can't. I'm glued to my computer. And so they were like, all right, cool. So when I got it, I was like, okay, it's here. So I was very public about it, just like don't make fun of me. But
Right.
they're everybody's so supportive. But it's funny, like the UPS guy shows up and he'll be like, hey, how come you're not on your treadmill or whatever, so everybody's used to it. And it helped me. I think around that time you had increased my steps even more, so that's a game changer. And ironically, it helps me concentrate more and be more productive when I'm walking. So it's helped even with that too.
Cool. And yeah, that's important. Again, connecting the dots, not because we're trying to be extreme about fitness or whatever it might be. It's just because during that season and still currently it's hot, you needed it, right? And that was,
Yeah.
you could easily incorporate something, and then it had other benefits as well. So that's
Mhm.
great to see. And that's it. With that, do you have any last thoughts or anything you would like to add?
Um, just that, like I said before, the only person that can do this is you, Um, and I'm speaking now as a woman, wife, mother. We spend so much time taking care of everybody else, and we tend to neglect ourselves and not prioritize ourselves. So that goes back to what when my cousin said it's just not that important. And how can my health not be that important to me? It has to be. How can I be a good mom or a wife, whatever, if I'm not feeling good? It just changes your whole world. To be able to keep up with my kids, doing activities and things like that. Whereas before, oh, I'm tired, or things like that. So it it's it's really nice. And then in the long run too, people start seeing what you're doing and they start getting curious. Like my I before, when I would always start some sort of a random diet or whatever, I would tell my husband, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And then I would not stick to it. So and he never told me anything, but I got to the point where I was getting on my own nerves because I'm not doing, I, I'm not even going to tell him anymore.
Yeah.
I told him I signed up with you, but I haven't, I never talk about it with him like, this is what I'm doing. Um, but we sat down this past weekend and I showed him the progress tracker. And because he sees me every day, so he doesn't see the changes. But when he saw that, he's like, whoa. And then I sent him a picture a while back that I had sent you, where I was just messing around flexing, and you could actually see my arm muscles or whatnot. And he was just like, wow, things like that. And he got to the point where he got curious with what I was doing, and then he's just like, so can I go can I go to the gym with you? And I was like, sure. And then he went and he liked it, and then he's like, so I think I'm gonna sign up. So I mean, he signed up, and so it's nice to you're inspiring other people without even knowing it, you know.
Yeah, and
So
that's the last thing I wanted to close with. I was listening to Brandon Turner the other day. He is a real estate investor, and he used to head the biggest or the Bigger Pockets podcast. And he said like the biggest way you could impact people is to set an example, right? Because if you can't take care of yourself, why are people going to listen to you? And the way to go about that is to actually do it, right, and do it quietly. And nobody wants to hear that person that's always got, their opinion on things and always trying to fix people. But if we set the example, and we hear it out, right, and we're able to make a change for ourselves, people are eventually going to take note of that. People might eventually ask you, and they're going to follow, and that's how you can make a big impact. And I think you've really done so, and people are going to see that through your story, and also through your photos, just how much change you've made, the ability to not have an excuse, to execute and just take care of yourself. And I think because that, you're feeling a lot better, and you've done an amazing job. So I really appreciate you as a client, and I look forward to communicating with you during your trip and then after you get back, because we're still going strong. So
yeah, I'm not done. I have a lot, still a lot more to do.
that's great. Well, yeah. Anyway, I just want to thank you for taking your time to do this. I think it's going to help some people to kind of get that light bulb moment and understand what they need to do as well. So I appreciate that, and we will talk to you soon. And you have a good trip.
You too. Thank you.
You take care.